30-second board, lots of hot topics in SMX this week, starting with the return to Pittsburgh. There have actually been two previous Pittsburgh Supercrosses, 1978 and 1983 at the old Three Rivers Stadium. Bob Hanna and Brock Lover, Hall of Famers and legends, won that. But a lot of those races were dotted with really bad weather. I think they're a lot better at dealing with that this time. So I wouldn't let the old visions mess up this time, because you know how I feel. Don't go too crazy on the rain prediction early in the week.
Don't try to spin the weather towards your favor, Weech. I think it's going to be a fantastic event. There is no one attached to this sport that's not excited about Pittsburgh. It's been one that's been asked for so many times, and it's crazy. We haven't been there in so long when there's such a rich motocross heritage in that Northwest Pennsylvania area. So should be good. Rain or shine, show up. It's going to be great.
Yeah, we heard ticket sales were crazy as soon as it was announced, and that newer stadium there and the part of town it's in is awesome if you've never been there, so it should be fun. Next one is more good news, which is the fact that this Pro Motocross Championship coming up in about a month, that opener is going to be all time. You got to speak with Jorge Prado over the weekend. He was hanging out in New Jersey. He's back on the bike. Lawrence Brothers starting to ride. Eli Tomac starting to ride. They should all be there, along with the likes of Webb and Sexton, Plessinger at the opener. This is going to be epic.
Listen, we're going back to a full field, and you could argue that we haven't really needed it. It has been fantastic racing. We have this championship fight, but there's no way to ignore the fact that we're missing some of the stars of the sport, and they're all back on the motorcycle now. They're all preparing for what is going to be an epic showdown in Southern California. So I'm trying to keep my eye on the ball, but there's this other thing out there looming in the distance that I'm starting to get really, really excited about.
And the great unknowns. We don't even know what we're going to see from Prado here. He's never raced a pro motocross race in America. Tomac hasn't done many in years. It's going to be wild. And on the other side of the ledger, the future stars of the sport, this is actually the national championship race this Saturday in Pittsburgh. We've had SMX Next in quite a few rounds this year, but those are just individual qualifying rounds. The winner of this race is the champ. Chance Hymas, Casey Cochran, Cole Davies are the three previous champions. I think we know what skills they have, so we'll see who this year's star will be.
Oh yeah, look at that mud, Weech. Look at that mud on a Saturday. That was an afternoon there, evening.
It happens.
So, we'll see. We will see. This argument will continue on forever, probably. But this SMX Next thing is really taken on a life of its own. We're watching stars develop, and you don't have to look far. Just look at the points leaders, especially in the West Coast, to see recent graduates who are immediately a factor in championships. So we're watching that unfold again, whether it's Landon Gordon or whoever your favorite rider is. They're going to take the next step soon, and they're going to be a factor.
In Pittsburghese, they're so much better at handling mud races now than they were in 1983, okay? So that's why I still have the silver lining with the dark clouds. This is what the track's supposed to look like if it's built and it's dry. Here's the Yamaha track map, JT.
Yeah, this one's going to be good. Look how long that start is, and a couple of things there. I think it gives riders room to kind of establish themselves, so maybe we don't get that first turn crash. And I think the guys on the outside can benefit from that. And oh yeah, look at that hoop section. Now there's what will likely be a triple-double or a double-triple into the whoops. So very similar to Tampa. So Malcolm Stewart, even Chase Sexton led until he crashed there. But the riders that want to carry momentum in, and Chase Sexton, you know he's going to have a huge circle drawn around that area of the racetrack. It's a very good setup for those riders that want to blitz whoops, weather permitting.
There will be a lot of eyes on Chase Sexton, who is suddenly rolling. And remember, JT, earlier in the year, we had this data that said he wins races early in the year, has a mid-season slump, and ends the year on fire. That's exactly what Chase Sexton is doing.
My man has some momentum here. There is no denying that. Chase Sexton is, as they say, looking good to take this thing all the way down to Salt Lake City. Now, the problem here with a 9-point deficit in 3 rounds, he has to be perfect. You know, unless he's going to get some help from someone else like Aaron Plessinger or Ken Roxon, there is no room for any mistake throughout the last 3. And that has been something that Chase Sexton has had a hard time doing, which is be perfect.
Yeah, because by the way, he has to beat Webb and win the 5 in a row. If there's a second and third place scenario in a race, that will be 1 point less gap between them, and he still would not win the title. So he doesn't just need to beat Webb, he needs to do it while winning. Unless Webb has a disastrous event, which it's racing, anything can happen to either. That's why you can't miss any of this as we go. And I think both of these riders who have been here before, they've both won titles at the highest level. It's kind of interesting to hear that they both, even with the pressure, are happy they're in this position against each other. Let's hear them.
It's great for the fans, right? I mean, it's great for the sport. It's great for us. It makes it fun. It's what it's all about, right? You don't you train your ass off to be in these situations when you sign up at A1, right? To be in a championship fight towards the end. So, yeah, I think for me, I'm leaning on experience and just been in here doing it with some amazing riders, and now it's with Chase. So, it's definitely, I think for the fans, great. If it was me selfishly, I wish I could run away with the thing, but it's not the case. So, has been good, and yeah, I mean, I'm just gonna stick to my thing and keep the, we're both hell of competitors, right? So it's fun for everybody.
I think it's fun. Like Coop said, I mean, you train all year to get to yourself this spot, and I mean, I've raced Eli obviously very closely, and then now Cooper in Supercross, and he's very tough. Like they're two completely opposites, but they have their strengths. So it's for me, it's really fun and it's special. I think for me, it makes me better. Each weekend battling him, very strong-minded. So just trying to have fun with it. Honestly, just trying to stay loose and not get too serious. Obviously, I want to win. That's the goal. But I think in the past, I've gotten just too locked down, and I think for me, just being loose and having fun is the name of the game for me. And when I'm having fun riding, that's kind of how I ride. So I'm having fun with it, and like I said, Coop's a great competitor, and it's been fun so far.
No trash talk there that time.
Yeah, I mean, the respect is pretty obvious between the two, but that doesn't mean they're not going to take shots at each other. And the one thing I think for Cooper Webb, he thrives on the battle. He wants there to be hard feelings. He wants them to be going back and forth, because I think he uses that as fuel during the week. I think he gets him fired up. So the more he can create animosity, respect is still there, but animosity, I think, is what really drives him. So I think that's where you see the little shots taken on the podium, those comments. I think he's trying to raise the level of, I want to say, again, it's not disrespect. It's just the competitive nature of Cooper Webb, and that's what he's trying to lean into.
Yeah, and also that brings out the emotions on both sides, right? And he's always historically proven he can control that and channel it the right way. We'll see if Sexton can do it as well. It's just so fun to have it this close with 3 races to go. And some other riders in that mix. Justin Barcia, who somehow doesn't have a podium this year, seems kind of hard to believe. Looked like he might have finally been in position one for what I'm going to say is his actual home state race. He was born in New Jersey, but he couldn't quite finish it.
Yeah, for Justin Barcia, he's trying to get on the podium. And this guy's been around for so long. He understands racing dynamics. And when the door is open, you have to be ready to walk through it. And when I say that, it's the injuries that have really opened the door, right? When you have, just like we talked about earlier in the show, Tomac out, Jet, Hunter, Jason Anderson, you just go down the list. Well, those are podium week in and week out guys. So there is an opportunity there. And Justin Cooper, Justin Barcia, and Aaron Plessinger all know it, and that's why you see them taking big chances trying to land on the podium while there's opportunity there.
Seth Hammaker, this is one of the greatest individual short-time improvements I've ever seen from a rider. He's always been fast, but I would actually say I don't even know if he's ever been the fastest, and he's also been inconsistent. He's gotten faster and more consistent this year, and you see the points, JT. He's the only one with 2 wins. He now has sole possession of the red plate, and he's got another home state race. I can't believe it. Seth Hammaker might be the best of this group.
Yeah, and something clicked with Seth Hammaker because he's always been able to go fast. He's always been able to get good starts, but that's been mirrored by inconsistency, crashes, and you could argue maybe even being a little bit out of control at times. And to be fair, we haven't seen that this year. There was one incident in Detroit where he had food poisoning, and that's where your 17th comes in, but the rest of it has been pretty predictable. And there have been opportunities for him to throw it away. He could have pressed the envelope in Philadelphia when RJ Hampshire was in front of him. He did not do it. So I don't know if it's the presence of Darren Lawrence or a change in training, Michael Byrne. There's a lot of things you could point to. Maybe it's just age and maturity, but this is a very different Seth Hammaker than we're used to.
We know what we're going to get from RJ Hampshire. He'll give you everything he has. He's dealing with a wrist injury. He says it doesn't matter. He won't feel the pain if he's in a title battle. What about Tom Viel? Still doesn't have the win. And Ian Harrison, his team manager, told me Saturday morning in New Jersey, you cannot consistent your way into this. He's going to have to beat Hammaker and Hampshire, and he still did not do it.
Yeah, it's hard to say that someone's back is up against the wall down 7 points, but I think reality says he is, because I don't believe that he can go into the finale in a showdown at a track he really struggled at last year and make up close to double-digit points on 2 riders. That's simply not going to happen. So this weekend is so pivotal for the setup for him going to the finale. If he could find a way to win in Pittsburgh, it completely changes the ask when we go to Utah. If it's the same thing, a solid race, another podium, but he goes down 10 or 9, I just don't think there's a way he's going to find himself as a 2-time champion in this class. So this weekend, it's easy to say that every weekend. They're so important, but this one, I think, this is for all the marbles.
And now that we've had enough East races to actually match up with the West, they've both run the same amount. It turns our attention to a different championship. Of course, the SMX World Championship at the end of the year. We can look at some very early playoff seeding here. This would be the battle to get in, the bubble battle to be in the top 20. Now, there's an entire summer of Pro Motocross coming, which will change this up, but just fun to look at right now. A guy like Max Voland, I think he's ridden very well. He's been luckless more than he hasn't been. He's only 17th. Dax Bennick, Max Anstey, they've been fast. They've had injuries. It's pretty alarming when you look at that list.
Yeah, this is going to be fun to watch, and this is going to change so much when you think about how many points are earned once we switch over to the Pro Motocross leg. 2 races, there's just so much change that's going to go on, but I think it is really important for riders to understand where they are, and then they start to schedule out which races they're going to be able to attend and what that possibly looks like. So nothing's decided, a lot of racing still to go. We have a whole second half of this championship before we get to Concord, North Carolina. But yes, it is something that riders are looking at that they never have before.
Yeah, and another thing to look at as the season starts to close, the St. Jude auction. So a lot of the gear and graphics that you saw custom at the Indianapolis round, which was the Love Moto Stop Cancer event, will now be up for grabs. You see some samples there. I mean, if you're getting autographs from some of the most popular riders in the sport right there, you want to collect that. So you'll see it on all of our social media, or just go to supercrosslive.com/St. Jude. It begins April 28th, and this is a chance to get some great stuff, and then all the money goes to St. Jude Children's Research Hospital.
Yeah, so many cool items. I actually saw 2 guitars that all the stars of the sport had signed when I was visiting the Race Day Live set in East Rutherford. But man, the range of items, it doesn't have to be a jersey, the prototypical signed helmet. There are a lot of external, not even a part of our sport, things that are donated to this that you can bid on. And I promise you, you're not going to find a better cause, right? Of course, we want to be a part of helping Road to Recovery and riders like Jerry Robin, but there are a lot of sick children also. So donate what you can. Be a part of these great causes across all fronts. There's never been a more compelling case for it feels better to give than receive than when you're a part of these foundations.
Yeah, you actually got to go to the St. Jude Hospital there in person. And I know you talk about it all the time, that you really learn a lot about perspective when you go there. So help out if you can. And the reward is some really cool memorabilia as well. From that, we move to our buddy, Braun Breaker, who you got to hang out with, WWE superstar in Philadelphia as he was preparing for WrestleMania over the weekend. So Braun was wrestling there. And then check out Cody Rhodes, the American Nightmare, son of the American Dream, Dusty Rhodes, with the dirt bikes in his ring intro.
Yeah, I mean, of course, this had to be from Braun Breaker's appearance in Philadelphia, right? They threw together this Cody Rhodes dirt bike appearance. And your guy, Stone Cold, he rode out on a quad also. I know you love quads. He came out on a quad. I think he crashed the quad also. So you love to see the crossover here. We're all a part of this Peacock family here. And I just love to see guys that are 3 times my size trying to ride dirt bikes or quads. It makes me chuckle, because if I had to go in a wrestling ring, they would just immediately throw me 3 rows deep. So to see them struggle gives me a little bit of a little peace inside that I can say, hey, they can't do what I can do.
And for a superstar like Cody Rhodes to say, you know what would look cool at the biggest race or the biggest event of the year? I'm going to tie it into motocross racing with a bunch of dirt bikes in my intro, and every fan, they cheered for that. They didn't say, what the heck is this? So there's a little respect for us there as well.
Hi folks, Lee Diffie from NBC Sports here. If you truly enjoyed what you just watched, you can get more news, interviews, and highlights by subscribing to the Motorsports on NBC YouTube page. You can get it all, so go for it.